Hello everyone, I just finished up this page, and so I thought what we could do is go ahead and work that page, and then I can have a finished spread here. And I'm thinking acrylic paint abstract on this side, and so I've just got some Blick matte paints out here in some complementary kind of colors. But you know what I really love about some of this layout is this bottom where we've got that black that kind of bled from the stencil that we had used, and I think that was just acrylic paint on that stencil, or it could have been that Fusion mineral paint that bled. But that's like my favorite part right there. And so I'm kind of thinking that we'll have this whole page that we can just do a great big abstract beside it in similar colors. And then we'll just go with the flow. And I could kind of get some of this color, this little dark color maybe with some acrylic ink possibly. Like, why not? Whoa, let's just make some marks with the ink. This is Payne's Gray and the FW, and this is the one that I have that's got like a broken stopper, but I don't care. I'm just getting some ink out here because we're gonna get that bowl scraper, and we're gonna let that do some mark making for us on top of what we've already got on here. And I'll probably come back on top with something later, but let's just start making it crazy. Let's just go for a hot mess. I'm going for a hot mess. Let's pull a pencil. This is a 6B Faber-Castell. Gonna do some little mark making. And this was the page that we were trying that little bit of stenciling. I actually did not mean to get that pencil on this page here. But it's pencil, so I could just take an eraser and erase that off of there. So we may see this underneath the paint and we may not, but I did particularly like this bit right here. And we could come back with the stencil on top of here and add some of this bit. I don't know. Let's just go with the flow. I'm gonna put a little bit of gesso down. Try my best not to get stuff all over this page. Let's just protect that page. There we go. So this is my white gesso and my clear gesso, and I like mixing my paints with gesso because it just makes it spread easier. We can top it with other stuff. We're using acrylic paint, so sometimes these paints do crazy stuff. I can put this on. Let's just do it with the spreader for the moment. It's kind of interesting just to get started. No particular direction that I'm going. Let me get out my paint brush that I like. And then this is just my Filbert Umbria Princeton number 8. It's a acrylic oil paint brush. And before I get too far, I don't want paint on the pages preceding it if I can help it. Probably already is on the tips of some of them, but I do try to just protect it with some wax paper as I'm going crazy with my paint. Just I'll be crazy here. And I generally, when I'm doing abstracts, and you'll see me do this a lot, I tend to start in the corners and work my way in. And because I did not gesso this page beforehand, we are going to have paint sink down into the paper in a way that we would not have seen if I had gessoed it first. And sometimes I think to do it first, and sometimes I put something like that stencil on it and don't do it first. So no particular reason why I do it one way or the other. Sometimes I'm purposely trying to get somewhere with what I'm doing, and sometimes I'm just going with the flow. And on this piece, I just went with the flow of wherever I was going, not really thinking hard about what we were going to end up with. You know, that's I'm kind of finding a freedom here with the sketch, this art book that, you know, I didn't kind of have with art books before. Somebody mentioned on one of the videos that I'm one of the few people that, you know, kind of struggled working in an art book on those first layouts, and man, I did. I had really just a whole lot of resistance to working in a sketch book for some reason. It felt limiting. It felt like, you know, where do you go? Because, you know, it's a whole book and lots of stuff in there. And I think I just painted on this page, but at least it's a complementary color. I do mentally have a lot of angst working in a book like this because you want a theme and you want it to be beautiful and you don't want to mess it up. You know, we're right back to getting stuck in our art and stuff. We don't want to mess it up. We want it to be amazing when we're done. And a lot of artists treat sketchbooks as, you know, their test in their playground. And even though they say they love it and they didn't have any struggle starting with it, I think they're telling us a story. But the further we get along in this book, the more I love it. And after I decided, yes, abstract book with abstract paintings, and I'm not going to worry too hard about where it's going, I felt lighter. I felt like, okay, I've made that decision and now that's what we're going to go with. Man, and I'm not really even thinking too hard about where I'm laying colors down, and you know that I've decided I like my bowl scraper for really moving those paints further around, so I'm just going with the stuff I like. And you can tell too, we can see the underneath peeking through there. So win-win on that one. Do we want to put that stencil over here somehow? Maybe not. Maybe we just want the layers of paint to kind of be out here complementing whatever it is that we have on the other page. I mean, we've got the stencil on the other page. I'm kind of thinking and painting at the same time here. Okay, I kind of want... Ooh, look what that did right there. Whoa, I love that. Oh, I like that right there. That bit right there. More of that, please. I gotta know, can we get more of that? Let's just put some paint on here and see. Ooh, right there. Yummy. Oh, got stuff right here on the edge. Falls right over. All right, how are we looking so far? I'm kind of feeling pretty good about this with the colors. And now, let's just take this. Do some mark making. Ooh, you know what else I want to do? Let's get that shelf liner. Where's my shelf liner at? Ooh, or maybe some, ooh, here we go. Ooh, look at this. Look at this. Ooh, what if I had a piece of pretty paper kind of sitting over here for some reason. Who knows why I had it out. I might have got it out and thought, ooh, stencil, or ooh, pretty something. But what if we use it as... Oh, okay. Very interesting. I got it right here where there was wet paint, but maybe not enough wet paint to really do something major. But what if we had, this is shelf liner, just that rubber shelf liner, which I've been using with some water. Woo! There we go! With some watercolor and stuff, just to get some neat texture, but you can use it in acrylic paints too, wherever it's still wet and kind of thick. Some of this is drying, but some of this is giving us some dots. And then we've got paint on the shelf liner, so maybe we can then use that. Looky here, I got there's a big piece of my hair on there, sorry. We could paint this and make dots. Ooh, let's do that. Ooh, oh, look at that. Okay, here we go. Oh, that's super fun. This is almost as good as some Punchinella dots. If you don't know what that is, then you need to watch back further on some of my other videos. Somebody said in one of my videos that I made Punchinella sound like something that could save the world. I got so excited one day with the Punchinella. Punchinella could save the world. That's basically stencil waste, stencil sequin waste. It's this stuff that I like to put swaths of dots, circles out there. Got it in a couple sizes right here. Like, maybe because, now that we got that out, maybe because we used that gold on that side. Okay, I'm feeling pretty good. Let's throw the brush in the water. Somebody said that they couldn't duplicate what I was doing because they couldn't see my water. And my water must have been the special ingredient, the designer secret that was making their stuff not look like my stuff. So seriously, it's a cup of water. Just sits right beside me. Nothing special about it, I promise you. If you cannot achieve what I'm doing because you can't see my cup of water, then I promise you that is not your reason. Are you using the same paper? Are you using the same paints? Are you using the same, whatever else I'm using that day? There's a lot of factors that go into, how a piece of art turns out, and it doesn't have anything to do with the water bottle sitting on the side. Okay, so I'm gonna use the iridescent gold fine deep golden. And some of it's just because I'm painting intuitively and I'm going with the flow and I'm having fun. And sometimes when you're trying to copy or replicate like what somebody else is doing, you're trying really hard to do it exactly like they're doing, and you're not being spontaneous and fun. And so, so when you're done, you're like, oh, that didn't work for me. That wasn't what I got. That's not the point of the way I paint. I paint like what feels good. Where do I want to go that day? What interesting stuff, Punchinella, can save the world. It's not all about, copying the piece that I'm doing that day, because I'm painting intuitively. And let me tell you, when I try to copy other people's work, I get nothing at all like I was setting out to do. So that's all of us. None of us can get the exact same thing that somebody else created, unless you're a master forger, and then more power to you. But the rest of us, I try to copy something that I'm like, that's amazing. Let me paint something just like that. And whatever I end up with looked nothing like what my inspiration was. That's pretty cool. Let's see what this looks like. Look at that. See how that complements that page? We had a lot of white, we had stencil work, we had something kind of simple working out there. And so how are we going to complement that over here? Because you can't really do the same. It's craft paper page, but I think we did a pretty darn good job there of making that match and at least look good and fun. And there's some gold, and we've pulled all the colors in. Whoa, I love it, I love it, I love it. We could come back and do some little gold dots like we've got where we did these leaves. We could come back and do like some other little designs. Ooh, I could put a leaf or two in here actually, now that we thought of that. I could just do some leaf work in here. But yeah, don't get discouraged if I'm creating something and then you're like, oh, that totally, I couldn't get the same thing. You're just never going to get the same thing. I never get the same thing when I'm copying other people and just trying out new techniques. I never get what they've done either. That's all of us. None of us can do it. Some people come close though, but it's still going to be whatever your own take on something is. Just sit and have fun. That's my whole goal of doing the YouTube videos, is showing up, having fun, showing you that art can be fun. It's not, you don't have to get so hung up in it didn't come out perfect, or I didn't get what you got, or some of this is feeling wet, but it's not actually like wet. I need my stick. I've got a paint stick here. This is what I use when I don't want to put my hand on the art, to kind of protect it. Yeah, I want you to have fun. Don't get so hung up in, I didn't get the same thing you got. It didn't look like yours did. yours looks so good, mine looks like a hot mess, because I'm looking at mine thinking, ooh, that's a hot mess. And you're looking at mine thinking, ooh, I want to create something just like that. It's all in the eye of the beholder. You may think that everything I painted was like terrible and why would I even paint that? Or you might think, oh my gosh, I love that, I want to do the same thing, and then you get discouraged if it's not perfect. Just don't get hung up on that. None of us can get something exactly like what somebody else did. It's all about having fun, being a little more intuitive, trying to try out a technique just to see, what it is and how it might work for you in whatever capacity. But don't get hung up on it being the exact same. You're not using the same paper. Maybe you're not using the same materials, the same supplies, the same feeling the day that I had that I might have painted something. It all kind of goes in there. And art's subjective. I want you to have fun. I want you to create. Whatever comes out of you is what you were meant to create that day. And you need to be like, oh, look where we ended up. This is super fun, and start loving wherever you end up. Because this is not where I thought we were going today. And look how cool it is. Because in my mind, I even tell you what I'm kind of thinking. Like, I want some of this black in there. And did we work a lot of that black in there? Not really. But do I love where I ended up? Heck yeah. Look how cool that looks. All right, so hope you enjoyed painting with me today. Don't get discouraged when your pieces look a little different. You were meant to create something a little different than I create. I just want you to have fun with maybe some of the techniques that I might show you and just see like, ooh, what could that do? Could that be part of my art practice? Or, ooh, I didn't like that, so I know not to do that again. I just want you to have fun with your art and enjoy wherever you end up with that day, because look how cool that is. All right, so I will see you next time.